Everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. If you're from the Boston area, you know this man very well. He's IFBB professional, owner of the best gym in Boston, Gym Hub, recently title sponsors of the Jay Cutler Classic in Boston, and he's just days away from making his pro debut finally at the New York Pro. Please welcome Nate Telow. What's up, Nate?
Thank you, Ron, for having me back.
Yeah, so I'm going to start way back in 2021. You turned pro that summer at the Universe. At that time, did you have an idea of when you wanted to make your pro debut, or were there still too many things going on? Because at that time, were you already in the process of starting to open up the gym?
Yeah, I can't remember where we were. Gym Hub was in the works. I don't know if I had a location yet or was just looking for a location, but it was in the works, at least looking for a location.
Okay. So, Jose is a good friend, maybe your best friend, I don't know. But he's very, very blunt, very realistic with people. When you turn pro, did he tell you you're ready to go on stage now, or this is what you need to improve on before you even think about getting on a pro stage?
Jose wanted me to jump right in. Whatever was left, some of the fall shows, if it was Texas or
Tampa would have been left.
Tampa, something like that, right? So, no, he wanted me to keep going. He's like, you can do this, let's go. And I knew for me, because I had the Gym Hub stuff in the works, and I had made that second priority for a while as I was prepping for Universe, that I needed to make it first priority. So as much as Jose was trying to get me to jump right in, I just knew I needed to go all in on the gym stuff. I know we were buying equipment at the time. I think we were either looking for a location or had a location, but that's a whole ordeal of months and months of lawyers going back and forth. So I knew I was done for then. My plan was to compete the next year. And then I actually opened up the gym and realized how much work it was. And I'm good and bad. When I do something, I go all in. OCD, I'm obsessive about it. If it's the music and the guitar stuff, or now, bodybuilding these last 4 or 5 years. And I knew I can't open up this gym and then put it on the back burner and think of I'm going to have a bodybuilding career, So I had hoped to compete last year. I couldn't do anything in the beginning of the year because we opened around like February of 2022. And so the thinking was towards the end of the year in the fall, and there were just no shows in the US. Like once you get to like close to the Olympia, it was like Japan Pro,
Spain, France, Italy.
Yeah, and I think the last US show after Texas was like the Legion, but it was masters only for 212. And I just didn't want to do that. I feel so blessed to have been able to turn pro in this sport that I've loved forever. I just want to stand up there with everybody, even if it's for the photos, the memories. It's not about trying to sneak in a win at a Masters Pro show. It's about being able to compete and have these memories of being up there with some of the best to ever do it.
Yeah. So the reason I asked your age before we started, I knew you were over 40. You're well qualified to do the Masters Olympia. Had you decided that was something you were interested in, did it cross your mind ever? Maybe I'll apply for this, because you had to apply for that. Because I know it's a master show, but it is an Olympia, and it's over in, where are they doing it?
Romania, I think.
Romania, Bruges. God, I'm terrible with these names. But yeah, did you think about it?
No, I think because I just hadn't done a pro show yet, right? So my assumption was that they were going to be somewhat selective. When they announced this thing, we're all hoping like Victor Martinez is going to jump in it, and you'll get all these guys to come back. Obviously, it didn't turn out that way, but with still some great competitors. But I was just thinking, all right, they're going to pick kind of like an Arnold, and I haven't even done a pro show yet. Why would I even, apply for this? Maybe it's something I would do in a future year. I hadn't really considered doing a normal Masters show like they have these things around Legion or one of these others. Yeah. But part of I was going to do Puerto Rico until that got canceled. Part of it is like, I work in this gym all day. I don't take any vacations. So if I can do a bodybuilding show somewhere and turn it into a vacation and travel and see a part of the world I haven't seen, that's one of the things being around Jose, as you have and I have, the stories that he has of where bodybuilding took him. He's been all around the world. thanks to competing. So I would consider that from like the traveling aspect of it. And certainly it's an Olympia.
Yeah.
But no, because I hadn't even done a show yet. I was like,
Okay.
why would they pick me?
Well, thinking vacation spots and contests, they do a couple shows a year in Alicante, Spain. That looks like a pretty happening little beach town. So
Yeah,
just
that's
future
something to
reference,
think of.
future reference.
Yeah.
So my gym owner, Tim Dowling of Bayshore Athletic Club, he was recently on vacation with his family in Turks and Caicos. Some guy came out to him, a former competitor, and said, "Oh, what do you do?" He says, "Well, I'm a gym owner." He goes, "Oh, so you just work out all day?" So I'm sure that's what people might assume if they hear, "Oh, this Nate guy, he's a pro bodybuilder, he owns a gym. He just hangs out at his gym and works out all day." What's the reality of being a gym owner, a successful gym owner who really wants to make this place thrive?
Yeah, it's you try to work out, one, everybody knows you, which is great, but it's challenging in a prep when you're like, all right, 45 minutes in and out, somebody's coming over to tell you their story of what happened to them on the weekend, because you're the owner, you're the dad of the place, the mayor of the town. So it makes it harder actually to work out. But no, a lot of it, we're a very different type of gym. We talked about, when you had me on after I turned pro almost a couple of years ago, a lot of my background was in commercial gyms and in these big box gyms. At one point, I managed 70 gyms around the country. And, that model is sign up memberships, volume, market, get people through the door, sign them up, hope they never come again, right? That's kind of the game of the commercial gym. I have no memberships, right? Where it's literally a pay-per-visit gym.
Wow.
And so we only make money when people come. And I was just talking to a girl about 30 minutes ago that she was just saying, how important this spot was for her, how this has become her community, her friends, the people that she's met here. She really feels at home here. And I think a big part of that is why the gym has been successful is the community of people that come here. So a lot of like what I end up doing is I'm here all day, but part of it is sort of making sure the community's right. Like if there's the kid with the tripod, as is now the trend in gyms across the country. Yeah. There's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And essentially, if you're noticing it, it's the wrong way to do it, right? It should be we all set up a camera somewhere if we want to film a top set, but you're not filming every single set with a tripod in the middle of a walkway or in front of the dumbbells. So I'm catching that stuff. And a lot of it is just saying, hey, listen, if you're going to train here, this is how it goes. And making sure that it's a place that everybody first and foremost can train in, right? That's why we're all here. And we're fortunate. Boston's a college town to have a lot of college kids here, and they're pretty moldable, the right ones anyway. This last Jay Cutler show, I had 4 first timers that were college kids in the show, 19, 20, 21, 22. And they had never thought of competing, but there's such a culture in this gym of Jose in here 5-6 days a week. We have a ton of people training for Universe now under Jose, trying to turn pro. Pros coming. Nate Spear was in here the other week, and all these pros coming through. Jay Cutler's here every few months, and Maureen was here. So it's almost a culture of all of these greats are coming through. You need to respect what it is that we do, which is the training. Yeah. And first and foremost, that's there. And when people start to kind of drift and kind of do the nonsense, I'm able to catch it really quickly, because that's the stuff that this gym could go sideways really quick. Yeah. So a lot of what I'm doing is building relationships with people, making sure the environment is ideal. People are training hard. Certainly the marketing stuff, the video content and all of that stuff, the Instagram game that we have to do, answering a lot of questions. One of the things with this gym is our big money makers. We're a home for independent trainers, guys like Jose, that they're not going to go work at LA Fitness or Boston Sports Club for $25 an hour. We're a home for these people. So I'm always answering questions and trying to get in new trainers. Some guy that's been at Equinox for 5 to 8 years that has experience but feels trapped. Get them to leave, bring their clientele over to my gym, run their own business. So that's always the part that I'm trying to grow, is more and more great trainers, because it's very consistent money for me. A trainer comes in and trains 3, 4, 5, 6 people a day. They're paying me for 2 bodies, every hour, and it's consistent.
Cool. Is it becoming, this is your first prep while you're running this place, and it's a lot of work. I know you're in there, like 12 hours a day plus?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's a typical day? I don't need to know every little thing, but how early are you in there? When do you get to train? When do you finally get home?
So I still train a lot of one-on-one clients, which I love. Today, for instance, my first client was 6:30 in the morning. Other days it's 7 or 8. So I might train on a slow day 4 clients, on a busier day 6 to 8. In prep, I've kept it to 4 to 6 because I have to do my morning cardio. I lift in the afternoon, often with Jose, and then either another cardio session after lifting, or if I have clients after, a cardio session at night. So I'm home 7, 8, 9 p.m., somewhere in that range. Okay. So it's always a 12-hour day. But this has been my easiest prep by far. One, I have my dream gym of the best equipment. 2, the atmosphere and the culture here is really conducive to everybody's here to train hard. And it's super motivating. So if I have a day I'm low carbs and I'm dragging, I look over and Jose's crushing somebody with drop sets, and I imagine that that's me in that session with him right now. Or you've got some really hungry kids that are did a show last year and they're in their off season trying to grow. Like, that's the energy around the gym. So that's been incredible. I get food from my sponsor, Hard Body Meals, a great local meal prep. So my food is all taken care of. So I've got a fridge full of all of the food that I need that's fresh and delicious. So that part's great. Like, everything's set up, as while I'm here for a good number of hours throughout the day. End of the day, it's simple. It's train 3 clients, eat a meal, train 2 clients, do some cardio, eat another meal, train 2 clients, everything I need is right here.
I've talked about this with a lot of competitors, that, especially at the pro level, some of them kind of wish they could just be a bodybuilder and just lay around all day. Others are like, they're trainers or they have some other non-related job, but they're grateful for that because it keeps them busy, keeps their mind occupied. Could you imagine just eating and training and lying around the rest of the day, like waiting for your next meal or waiting to go to the gym?
Man, I had a few Saturdays ago. It was the weekend of the NPC main show a few weeks ago. Jose and I were going to go up, and like the day before, he was like, "Oh, I'm not going to go." So I had a Saturday free, which I never have. Didn't have any clients. I had already planned it to be an off day, and I did nothing that day. Like, walked the dog around the seaport in Boston, and I watched like UFC fights all night and laid around. And Ron, I'll tell you, for the first time, I was thinking about food. I was like, I am hungry. I want a snack. I want granola bars and rice cakes and carbs. And I started thinking about the food I couldn't have in prep. And I was like, whoa, there's a real benefit to being busy all day, where I mainly am like, oh shit, it's been 3.5 hours. I haven't eaten. I need to eat a meal, so I prefer to be busy by far. I think I know Jose was the same. A lot of his work ethic in bodybuilding has rubbed off on me because that's who I'm around every day. But even when he had various supplement contracts, he was still training. There's just something about being in the daily routine and keeping busy.
So getting to Jose is a good friend. He's your coach. How important? Did you ever work with a different coach before? No names, but was he your first, proper coach?
In this second stint of bodybuilding for me, which I started with Jose at 37. Okay. I had a coach when I did my first show at 25, an old school guy, born and raised in the North End, very Charles Glass-esque in terms of not a lot of weight, very specific movements. He used to own some gyms in the area, but super old school in that he didn't believe in cardio. Like, my whole prep, I did no cardio. I just starved. And what he was great for, though, when I started with him, was everything with him was mind muscle connection. So it wasn't a lot of weight, but it was holds and squeezes and feeling the muscle. So very thankful that that's how I started learning how to lift, was not the ego lifting, but like, I don't know if we bench more than 135, but everything was very slow and not extending all the way. So I worked with him for my first couple of shows, 2005, 2006. And the training knowledge was really valuable. The nutrition and the cardio side didn't exist. And so connecting with Jose, you know, even when I worked with that other trainer, the intensity was never like it is with Jose now. You know, you've trained with Jose over the years, and I've talked to numerous pros who have been like, those have been some of my hardest workouts. You know, trying to keep up with a leg workout with Jose, just the volume and the supersets and the holds and drop sets. And so that's been incredible, you know, to train with him as often as I do these last 5 years, and, you know, from 37 to now 42. And I've gotten stronger. My physique's dramatically changed, and I have less aches and pains doing things the Jose way, which is a lot of pre-exhaust, right? On leg day, you're doing 2 hamstring movements, then leg extensions, and you're smoked after just those things. And then you go to the walking lunges and the leg presses and the hack squats. And when I started with Jose, I had, you know, probably bicep tendonitis or shoulder pain, but really bad lower back pain. All of that's gone.
Wow.
Just from his method of training. And I'm training harder than ever. Like, I'm scared going into every workout with Jose is like, oh no, we've got legs today. I'm going to bed early the night before. I'm, you know, making sure I eat every last gram of carb in the meal leading up to the workout. But I feel better than ever at 42, you know, thanks to training with him.
So, you know, most people that have a coach, they never even see the coach in real life. A lot of them, they're just sending pictures on their phone, check-in pictures. Can't stand that stupid little thing, that thing that they put in your mouth to take the picture.
Yeah.
Looks like they're wearing a.
It's a clicker, right?
I know what I know what it is.
Yeah,
I
it's
have
so
one.
stupid.
Someone gave me one. I've never used. Anyway, the point is you see Jose. He sees you in person every day. He trains with you. You know, how much of a difference do you think it makes to have a trainer that's literally hands-on and literally there seeing you every day? He can. I don't know how often you guys pose, but he would know immediately. You're behind. You're ahead. You're too flat. You're too this. You're looking great. You're not looking great. You know, how cool is it to have someone right there every day like that?
It's everything. You know, I think when you look at successful coaches and clients, you know, obviously what comes to mind recently is like Matt Jansen with Sean Clarita and Nick Walker. Is certainly Matt Jansen is a great coach, but I think what's so successful is the relationship that Matt has with Sean, with Nick, and probably how hands-on he is with a lot of what they do. That's how I feel with Jose. You know, even give you an example is the last couple of days, you know, Jose's basically said that I could be ready in 3 days for a show. And we're just really just fine tuning now, just trying to get a little bit leaner. So the last few days, he was like, your way to make a statement at this show is to be one of the most conditioned guys up there. You're ready to go now, but we're going to really push it. So we cut my carbs in half, added a second cardio session, and my body changes quick. So within a day or two of that, I was dragging. You know, it hit me hard, but it's like, whatever, we'll do it. So we went to train legs yesterday, and I was doing everything, but he could see I was, you know, just really out of it. And he's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. We don't need all this volume, because he could just read me. And he's like, look, we're going to go heavy, but we're going to do less today. We're just enough to hit what we need to hit, preserve the muscle, and then let's get you out of here. Let's do some posing and then go eat a meal and we're done. You know, I don't want to run you into the ground. I can see you're pretty beat up today. So things like that are huge. Today we trained back together and we spent a good 15 minutes going over the poses again and trying different things. And man, that stuff's so important, you know, just good posing and presentation. And we're running them over and over again and trying to see what we can do to bring out more detail. Because I'm, you know, at 5'8", I'm tall for 212. I'm certainly not going to be the biggest, thickest guy up there. but what I can be is the most polished and the most detailed. And that's a lot of the posing work of just figuring out, how do we get the glutes to pop more on the side? How do I get more shit going on in my shoulders and arms on a side chest, and on a side try, how do I get more obliques to pop? All those little things, right? It can make you look conditioned or not conditioned. And sometimes a guy who's in shape just doesn't know how to pose to look in shape. So having Jose here every day to run this stuff over and over again is everything. If I was working with even a great coach online, I'm not getting the time, the hours, the repetition of run the poses again, run them again. And also being able to see somebody in person, and he can grab the skin on my stomach and see what is, one of the things Jose knows about my physique is I'm on my feet 14 hours a day, and my legs are never separated until right at the show. And early on, Jose was like, what's going on? Like, you have no fat, but your legs aren't separated. It's like they're inflamed. I'm on them all day. So now he knows, all right, if I can just be off my legs Friday, the day before the show, and we pull a little bit of water out, I wake up Saturday morning, they're separated, and so we know that stuff now by working together over the last 4 or 5 years, that if I went to another coach, they would probably run me into the ground and take 10 pounds off my upper body to try to get the legs separated.
Yeah. They'd say, another hour of cardio every day. No carbs for the next 30 days.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what you said about the workout. A lot of coaches, most of them don't even, they just give you the nutrition and the protocols. But the ones who do give training, they would just give you the workout, and you would go to the gym in that condition, or you would go to do the workout and you'd feel like a failure because you'd be dragging ass. They'd give you, because if you didn't, you're supposed to do these 40 sets or whatever they have laid out in the plan. Whereas if the person was there, they could read you, like Jose, he could see you and say, yeah, man, you're dragging ass. Let's just cut back the volume. We don't need to do this. Because some of those decisions have to be made on the fly, on the spot. You can't predict the human body and how it's going to respond that well. Let's talk about the Cutler Classic, man. So GymHub was the title sponsor. Typically, the title sponsor just gives money and gets the banner, but you took a much more active role helping Jay Cutler and Steve Weinberger, especially Jay being such a friend of GymHub and trains there all the time. What were, when did you decide you were going to do more than just give them a check?
So, since we opened, Jay's been incredible. One, just coming to the gym. Every time he's here 3 hours each time, getting his workouts in, hanging out, talking, taking pictures. And each of these visits, right? If I didn't know Jay and wanted Jay to make an appearance, that's $10,000, right? For Jay to come and hang out and take pictures and sign autographs, right?
Yeah.
And he's coming to my gym 4 or 5 days in a row doing that every day. So I'm so grateful to, obviously what he's done for the gym. Every time he does jaywalking or his Cutler cast or all the content on his YouTube channel, he mentions GymHub all the time. He's wearing GymHub shirts in Vegas on the podcast when he works out in the gym. I mean, you probably could buy that, and it would cost you a heck of a lot of money, to have that level of influence. And he just is doing it because it's I don't even know why he's doing it, but it's much appreciated on my side. So I'm so appreciative of that, because one of the things I wanted, this gym for me was never this is a commercial gym and we need to get the most members and make the most money. Tomorrow this gym could just be my private gym that I train clients out of, and I mean, when we opened it up, it was going to be just trainers only. It was not meant to be this bodybuilding gym, commercial gym. It was just a private gym for trainers to work out of. And as I started posting about the equipment, people wanted to come. And then the Boston Pro came to town. And then Jay is just here every few months for 4 days at a time. And he filmed a workout video that's on his YouTube of, Jay training at GymHub. And so it's just endless stuff that I'm just so grateful. And not only that, but now his friendship. Jay the other day texted me 2 weeks out, bro, how you feeling? You know, like out of the blue. And I'm like, how cool is this? You know, with all this guy has going on, he finds a time out of his day to check in on me and give me words to pump me up.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, I'm just immensely appreciative of what he's done. And you know, he's always in my gym after his shows, and we'll have honest conversation about how the show's doing. And Jay just mentioned, you know, the goal of wanting the show to be bigger, better, and, you know, maybe ideally bring it back to Boston. You know, it had to move to Lynn due to a lot of the restrictions during the pandemic that Boston, the city, had. So it's like wanting to get it back to Boston, potentially having a pro show tied to it, just, you know, ambitious stuff. Yeah, I know. And so just like you, if somebody that, you know, loves this sport, there's a community here. I want all this stuff, you know? And so in my talking with Jay, it was like, well, what needs to happen for that? And one of the things was, you know, well, we need more money in the show. We need more vendors, more sponsors, you know, obviously besides more athletes, competitors in the crowd, but that's very unpredictable. You know, you can predict how many vendors show up. And so, you know, but Jay's not around here. And they, as you know, they don't really have a system for marketing to be a vendor at a show. I own this gym. I didn't even know how to do it. So I just told Jay, I said, I know a lot of people in the community that I think could benefit from being at the show. And if you want, I'll step up and help out. So Jay said yes. And so it gave me an opportunity to, you know, give back and to him a little bit. So we became the title sponsor. You know, so we made that donation to that. I think I got 6 or 7 vendors that had never been part of the show. And I felt vendors that really added. Hard Body Meals, my food sponsor, was there not only giving out samples of free food, but they had prep meals in a fridge of steak, sweet potato, broccoli, chicken and rice and broccoli that they could microwave and you could eat at the show. You know, for guys like us that I lose 5 pounds being at that show all day.
Yeah.
So that, a supplement store that had the protein shakes and energy drinks, and a chiropractor that works on athletes, and a doctor that does blood work and TRT on bodybuilders, and all these are people in my circle. So we did that. I reached out to Maureen Blanquisco, Miss Olympia, who I had been in talks with, trying to get her to come here to do a bikini posing seminar for the people in the area. Yeah. And I just simply asked, can we lock in a date so I can market it at the Cutler? Just so I can make a flyer and say, hey, everybody here that's competing in bikini, we have this coming up in the fall. And they got back to me a day later and said, you know what, to support you and Jay, we're going to come to the show. And flew out here. And then we started talking, while you're here, let's do one-on-one posing sessions. So local bikini girls got to have 30 minutes of Maureen either teaching them how to pose for the first time, or a day or two out from the Cutler, Maureen perfecting their routine, or giving them, you know, just a word of confidence of, you know, your posing's great, but here's what you need to be thinking inside as you're walking out, and you need to own this, and you're beautiful, and you really have a shot to win this. You get Miss Olympia telling you that. We had girls coming out of the room with tears coming down their eyes. You know, it was beautiful to see. So all of this came together, and you know, Jay had just said on the Cutler cast I watched today, I think it came out the other day, that he felt this was one of the best shows they've had in a while, certainly since it had to move to Lynn. Just the energy, having the vendors there. We did something for the overall prizes too. You know, Jay had mentioned, I think in Vegas, they give away a sword. Around here, you know, Steve buys this stuff in bulk. So everything in the Northeast sort of has the trophies in bulk, the medals in bulk, and they're great. You know, but certainly Jay wants his show to really stand out, you know, apart from maybe any other NPC show. So I reached out to a bunch of friends of mine. We had American Nutrition Center, A&C, Pete over there. along with Cardillo, made these custom tattooed belts that said Jay Cutler Classic, overall bikini winner, overall bodybuilding winner. So the next day, whoever won those can be in the gym, that was really cool. Hard Body Meals donated a $250 gift card. Jay donated a whole bunch of supplements from his line of Cutler Nutrition. Maureen sponsored Nebbia Clothing, donated clothing. GymHub did guest passes. And so besides the medal and the trophy, I think it was like $700 worth of stuff within these backpacks that everybody came through and donated. So it was really, really cool to see, and hopefully made it special for those overall winners.
Well, I would think so. I mean, you're lucky if you get even a decent trophy nowadays at a show, so wow, props to you, man, because you didn't have to do any of this, really.
Yeah, part of it is just I love the sport. The people that are competing in these shows are now training in my gym regularly, and you see how hard they're working, and it's a couple phone calls, and hopefully everybody benefits from it, right? That's the goal. Certainly, it's somewhat transactional of, people see these awesome belts that Pete A and C made, and they say, I want a custom belt, or someone tries Hard Body Meals and says, this stuff is amazing, I'm going to start ordering their food, or someone hears of GymHub that had never heard of it and comes here for a workout and loves it, But I think overall, I'm just the kind of person that I'm not really transactional. And when somebody does something nice for me, like Jay has, I have to give back. I don't like it being one-sided and feeling like a taker,
So let's talk pure bodybuilding now. What improvements have you made? What differences am I going to see in the Nate Telow physique on the New York Pro stage? I wasn't at the universe, but I saw videos, I saw pictures. You've had about a year and a half, almost close to 2 years since you competed. So yeah, what's changed? What's better?
So Jose and I were talking about this today because, I didn't have a significant amount of weight I could gain. I turned pro at 206 at Universe.
Boy.
And I'll probably be on stage 208, but it's a much different look. I'm much denser, certainly better conditioning. Hamstrings grew a lot, back grew a lot. My abs are better. Arms are bigger. Chest and shoulders are definitely bigger and denser. So, Jose and I were talking today about that, because I was like, man, if I was just looking at the scale, I would feel like a failure of, I've had a year and a half and I'm going to weigh the same or a pound or two over, right? If you're just thinking about weight. But it's such a different look, than what I had. It's just a denser look, a little bit more muscle and better conditioned. And look, I'm an old man, it's that old man muscle where there's a lot more detail going on. That's the one benefit that I have versus some of the younger kids in this sport.
It's funny because a lot of guys do base their progression or improvements purely on how much weight they've gained since their last show. They'll say, I'm 18 pounds bigger. I'm like, oh, wow. Can't wait to see that. And then I see it. Condition's not there. They're not in shape. And then I see the same weak body parts that they had before are weak, and their stronger body parts are just bigger. So it's not, good. That is not a good gauge of progress. And Jose would never have let that happen to you as a good friend. He's brutally blunt, one of the most honest people you're ever going to meet in this lifetime. And if you weren't looking the way you thought you should look, he wouldn't even tell you. He'd say, pick another show. You're not ready for that.
Yeah, I see it. He has a bunch of people that recently competed that are like, I'm going to nationals, and he's like, let's hold off on that. You can be really good, but I don't want to see you go there and get 12th place. And these are people that are thinking, I just won a show, I can go and get my pro card. And Jose's been super complimentary to me as long as I've known him, from my first prep with him, or how, he convinced me to do a prep. I was just training with him to just fall in love with training again after all these years. I wanted to have my butt kicked. I wanted to be pushed. I was just kind of coasting for too long. And he's the one that convinced me to do a show. He's like, hey, you should do this show. You could win it. and I didn't think I'd have a chance to even place top 5. I just was so out of the sport. And he was like, no, do it. I'll coach you and you'll win. And so even from the very first show, I didn't, I was like, I think this guy's just saying this to get me to do it. But I did it and I won. And, each, as we've gone along, I'm always my worst critic, every check-in pick, this could be better. That could be better. I need to pose better. Jose was the first one to be like, you need to go and do a national show and try to go for the pro card. I wasn't the one that was doing it. He was the one pushing me. And same thing with, when we were talking about what show to do, when to compete, I initially was thinking, possibly Puerto Rico. It tends to be a smaller show and I can make a vacation out of it. And, I spoke to Jose, I spoke to Jay Cutler and a few other people. And, when you're on the East Coast, everybody's going to say, do Steve's show, do New York Pro. That's until there's another pro show in Boston, that's our hometown show. And also it's theoretically the biggest show that you can do, right? It's always sort of, for a long time was looked at as one of the bigger pro shows outside of the Arnold and the Olympia. Certainly it varies year to year based on who shows up, but usually there's more heavy hitters there than a Puerto Rico or some of these other shows. And everybody was like, dude, dive in the deep end. You go against the best people and you'll train your butt off. That certainly there's a lot more on the line when you're going up against some great people. And that's why I'm in it. I'm not in this for placings. I'm in this for progress, to be better.
Yeah. And, nothing against the smaller shows or people who decided to go that route, but I look at the results every weekend every Sunday or Monday from the past weekend, and a lot of times the lineups of some of these smaller shows, they're so weak. And I mean, if I was a pro and I picked that show and I won it, I wouldn't be that proud because I'm like, well, who did I beat? Nobody's heard of these guys. New York Pro, I don't know the full lineup yet, but we already know 212. The only two guys I know right now are Kareth Baggio, Mark Loveliner, of course. I think this Jordan Wise guy, I think he's going to be a 212.
There's, I don't know how to pronounce his first name, but his IG is the Mass 212, the Korean guy working with Milos.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah.
And there's a Brazilian guy as well who's also won a pro show and been to the Olympia. So I think, as far as I know, there's 3 pros who have won pro shows and qualified for the Olympia in it. Obviously, Mark Loveliner. There's a few guys that I found online who I wasn't aware of, but they look very good. I think Chris Tuttle has a guy in the show. There's a few other guys that are either making their pro debut or this is their second year competing. So, more in my range of unknown to the judges, and but there were 3 bigger names that I saw doing this one so far, at least.
What do you mean? I don't blow smoke either. If I thought you sucked, Nate, I wouldn't even do interviews with you, honestly. But I think, you are a little taller, but I've seen guys in the past like Zane Watson, Mark Dugdale, who are same height, and they came in somewhere around between like 208, 210. Phenomenal physiques, man. It's not about
the last one, Nate Epler.
Yes.
Won the New York Pro, right?
Yeah,
same height as me. That's been an inspiration for me of, what I would like to see my physique get to is, we're the same height. He has a little bit of a smaller waist than me, but he has knockout shots and the detail and the shape he was beating guys that were 5'5" and 210, 212 on stage.
Thanks. 100%. Now, is your actual name Nathan or is it Nate?
Nathan.
Okay. You never know. Did you know Ronnie Coleman's name really is Ronnie?
No, I didn't.
I thought he was a Ronald like me. I thought,
yeah,
Ron
of course.
McDonald. Nope, he's a Ronnie. So yeah, Nate Spear, Nathan Epler, Nate Telow. Yeah, great name. So man, I'm excited for you. It's been a long wait, but I know you had so much going on with the gym and everything. I think usually the time works out the way it's supposed to. Things tend to work out in the universe the way they were supposed to work out. So I think this is the right time for you to make the pro debut. I'm glad you're doing a really good show, and I'm glad it's one I'm going to be at. I would have been bummed if you went to Puerto Rico just because I want to be there for your pro debut. You're a cool guy. I'm really excited to see you. So
No,
yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate it. I have tons of people from the gym coming down.
Mm.
My dad's coming down. Like it's that's going to make it really, really special for sure, you know, in this thing. And so, um, you know, certainly I'm competitive, and I'm coming to this thing fighting for first call outs 100%, and I know I can do it. But you know, beyond that, you know, I'm 42. When I started getting into this again with Jose at 37, I didn't think I'd win a local show, let alone be able to turn pro. And then I think even the goal was like, if I could get a pro card, I'm just going to get it and, you know, move on with my life. And of course that doesn't happen. And you know, so to be able to do the New York Pro and have all these people down there is going to be really special. You know, a big part of this is it's memories and taking this all in and having the experience in these photos to last a lifetime, you know. But make no mistake, I'm still coming to kick some ass in this thing and make first call outs.
Well, I want to let everyone know I'm going to be on site with Jose Raymond covering the New York Pro for Muscular Development. We'll be doing live interviews, wrap ups and stuff all weekend. Well, Friday and Saturday, Sunday maybe not. So I'll definitely be seeing quite a bit of you, Nate, and it's going to be a good time, man. That show is, you've been to it before. It's fun. It's just got a lot of energy, a lot of atmosphere. You know, New
For
York,
sure.
it's New York, New Jersey people mostly, and they're hyped, man. If they like you, you're going to know it right away. You
Yeah.
know, they
Oh, it's the
don't.
best. I've been the last few years. It's the same venue it was at last year when we were all down there.
That's right.
And yeah, awesome energy. Awesome energy. So I can't wait. I can't wait to be a part of it and you know, have friends and family in the crowd as well, and you know, put on a show, put on a fight.
All right. Well, I want to remind everyone, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, turn on your notifications here on YouTube and on your phones, and watch for Nate Telow in the 212 division, making his pro debut at the New York Pro. Muscular Development will be there on this channel on YouTube, live, doing all kinds of updates for you guys. You can see how Nate does. And man, I'm rooting for you, Nate. You know I'm rooting for you. So
Thank
that's
you
it.
so much, Ron.
Thank you for taking the time. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching Ronline Report with Nate Telow. We'll see you next time. Hey, did you like that video? Smash that like button, subscribe to MD, and please comment down below. Thanks for watching.